Die, monster. You don't belong in this world. Mankind ill needs a savior such as you. What a horrible night to have a curse. Can you imagine how good of a weapon this would be if it worked in real life the same way as it does in the Castlevania games? I mean, the frickin' vampire killer. In this case, a improvised prop. But, you know, if this worked the same way, I mean, all the range you have with it, and as you whip with it, it passes right through multiple enemies. You know, if there were like 3 creepy bobs standing there, this would go through all of them and hurt each one the same way. And you can roll it up, you can make it pretty compact, it's easy to carry, and it's especially effective against the undead. What more could you wish for? So obviously today I'm totally gonna geek out. Super Castlevania IV. One of my all-time favorite games. It was the first game that I got on the Super Nintendo as a kid, aside from Super Mario World, obviously. And it blew me away. Keep in mind, before that I had an Atari 2600. And the music, the atmosphere, everything you could do, the perfect, tight, responsive controls of Simon Belmont being able to whip in all directions. And I don't know what it is with every Belmont after Simon, they just don't have the mastery over the whip that he does. However, in real life, not quite so fantastic. Now, flexible weapons exist in various martial arts. You have that in different Chinese martial arts styles, things you can kind of call chain whips, even though they don't have chain links like this, but it's kind of longer sections that are connected with rings, and you can have a different number of sections. I think it was between 7 and 9, maybe more. And there's some pretty interesting, impressive demonstrations with those. The rope dart also goes along those lines. Flexible weapons. Flexible weapons are very difficult to use effectively. They require a lot of practice and skill. They can be difficult to control. They bounce around, they wrap around things, and all of that. The way it's shown in the game, where the whip just extends straight forward like that, that's a little difficult. One interesting thing I found while messing around with it, you can make it a little more controlled if you start out with it coiled up like this and then release it. So like this. It seems quite a bit more accurate that way, but of course you have to coil it up every time before a swing if you want to do that. And it still has the issue that it can bounce off the target and go right back at you. Now you can strike with it fairly effectively. The only problem is you have to be at the exact right distance so that the weight at the end hits like that and doesn't go above and, you know, wrap around the body, and because that would make it lose a lot of power, and then it just kind of wraps around your body and just kind of lightly taps you on the back, which is not that effective. So here again, I struck it more with the chain rather than the end. Now, some of the chain whips, depending on the game, don't really seem to have a weight at the end. Now, some have like a spiked ball, like a morning star basically. Others just seem to be just a chain. If it's just a chain, then forget about it. I mean, a chain can still be effective if it's a large chain with heavy links that is shorter. So if it was, say, like this, and I strike, yeah, that has a lot more oomph. That would be way better. Even better, a weight at the end of a short chain. Like this I can use quite effectively, and that would definitely hurt. Now, I don't think it would be necessarily as effective as, say, a mace, because with a mace you have the solid shaft, yeah, make your jokes, that can really transfer all the force. If you strike something, let's say this is my mace, and I strike something, I can really put my body weight into it. I can rotate into it. I can drive it with the power of my legs and my core. And this, since it doesn't have give, this will really transfer the energy into the target where I want. With a flexible chain, on the other hand, there is no follow through. It just hits, and then it bounces right back at me, as you just saw. So that's what makes it dangerous. Don't get me wrong, you can definitely make this work, and there are people who are very skilled with flexible weapons, no doubt about it. It's just that they have some drawbacks and challenges compared to rigid weapons, and they don't have as many advantages to compensate for them, in my opinion at least. Now you can kind of use whip techniques like that. I think I broke his face. It's going to pass from behind my head, past my head hopefully, but it may very well hit me in the back of the head on the way. So yeah, it's a difficult weapon. Now, somebody who has trained things like the 9-section whip or other flexible weapons over many years probably doesn't have a lot of issues. Some of them can do tricks like shoot it out by basically kicking it with a foot. Things like that. There are a lot of neat tricks, but there's still some drawbacks of this. Now, of course, as a weapon also, you can't use it defensively, basically. You cannot parry, really. I mean, if you tried to catch an opponent's sword with the chain like this, forget it. This will just blow right through, the chain will collapse, and you just don't have the structural integrity to really do that. And you can't deflect, you can't parry in any way. So you do definitely have the advantage of reach. You can be all the way over here, but it all needs to be perfect and precise. Plus, of course, if the opponent moves, if they step forward, it won't hit them right at the end, but it will just wrap around them where it's much less effective. But of course, over-analyzing like this does not diminish my appreciation for the Castlevania games at all. It's all about the gameplay and the atmosphere and the perfect controls. They're just fantastic games. If you've never played them, by all means do so. That's about it. Thanks for watching, and have a good one, folks. And don't forget, all of you are just miserable little piles of secrets. Are you gonna keep angrily squeaking at me? They are so angry. Can you hear that? This is absolutely adorable. There's this angry squirrel. Are you throwing shit at me now too? There's this super angry squirrel that's scuttling around the trees. It just keeps angrily chirping at me, throwing stuff around. There's the other one. Guys, what are you doing? You're kind of what we could die of cute poisoning, huh? Are you coming up to me now? Hey, can you stop throwing shit from the tree up there? Cheap. Look at this angry fire. You gotta be kidding me. It squeaks all the way down. What are you doing? Oh my goodness, that is the valiant squirrel against the sword guy. Are you still there? What are you doing? This is my tree. It's my tree. Get lost, human. It's still squeaking at me. every move. What is your problem, little guy? I'm totally gonna die of food poisoning. Like, really? Is this your thing? Is that your shtick? Is this your tree? Sorry, little guy, but I'm gonna have to do some recording here. He's the angriest squirrel you've ever heard.